There's been a few major turning points. The first one was learning that there was a difference between being at the effect of my life, being the effect of the world around me, versus being at cause. Not necessarily the cause of every single thing that happened around me, but realizing that I could be the cause or at cause of a lot of it, some of it. That was a turning point in my life, because up until then, all of that stuff happened to me. There wasn't even a happen for me. It was literally just, I'm a victim. All of these people did this to me, and none of it was my fault. And I can't do anything about it. That first step of realizing that there was two different ways of seeing myself in the world. The next step was accepting responsibility. This isn't about, oh, a horrible crime happened and you're a victim to it. It's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a chronic mindset of, I'm at the effect of the world and everyone else is to blame. Pointing a finger. You're pointing the finger elsewhere. What happens when someone else is to blame? When it's their fault? Then it's their responsibility to change it. So many of us go through our life pointing a finger because we don't want to take responsibility. The problem is the people we're pointing the finger to, the bullies, the government, our parents, the economy, whatever it is, you're going to be waiting a long time if your life is going to change, waiting for them to do it for you. And so I realized, oh, if my life is going to change, it's up to me. I have to take responsibility for this. It doesn't mean those bullies or whoever it was are not accountable. But what it does mean is that I have a responsibility. There's stuff that I can do. There's forgiveness that I can do. There's healing that I can do. There's ownership that I can do. There's new choices I can make. And so those two pieces were the cornerstone of actually getting out of that victim mentality. If you don't take responsibility, you can't change it, right? It's ownership. If you look at someone else's house and it's messy, what can you do about it? Nothing. They own it. It's their responsibility. You can't just go over and arrange your neighbor's house how you want it. You can't do that. You can only do it for what you own yourself. That piece around ownership, of taking responsibility. So many of us, including myself, take that to mean that the other person's off the hook, and we take it to mean it's self-blame. Self-responsibility and ownership is not self-blame. There's no blame at all. It's ownership. It's saying, this is mine, I own it, which means I'm the only one that can do something about it. That understanding was the bedrock to everything else. The other biggest piece came in maybe about 10 years later, about a decade later. That was the discovery and recognition that it's not just what we think in our minds. It's not just what we think in our heads. It's not just the image we have of ourselves. It's what's in our body. And this is called embodiment. And this piece was really the difference that took me from, this is how I think things should be, this is how I see myself, this is how much money I feel like I should deserve, and the actual reality, my actual bank account, the actual people around me, the actual impact I'm having in the world. And the understanding that that starts with the body, that you can have it in your mind, right? You can think about it, but until it shows up physically, until you move with your body, take action in the world, move through the world in a different way, actually make new choices, what you think doesn't really matter. It's important, it's the first step, but until you take action, until you embody that new way of being, you're not going to get the results. And so that was one of the biggest missing links, which then led to me doing the cynosomatic work.